Okay. Can I? Voice is okay. Voice clear. Good morning, all of you. Can you hear me? Am I audible to you? Come on. Is there anybody there? Okay. How many members are there, sir? Good morning. Okay. Come on. Let us learn some more details. Yesterday, I have discussed about regions of root. Regions of root. Okay. Now, let us learn from types of roots onwards. Types of roots. What are the varieties of roots that we identify in angiosperms? See, based on their origin and their development, roots are of three types. One is taproot system altogether. Taproot system. Next one, fibrous root system. Fibrous root system. And finally, adventitious root or adventitious root system. Why did you call it as root system? Of course, I will elaborate it clearly. Let us learn. First of all, what is taproot system? In case of taproot system, radical continuously expand like primary root. Radical is going to be continuously expand like primary root. On the top of this primary root, there will be development of lateral roots. This is, for example, this is primary, and direct root that is coming from the primary root is called as secondary root. On the secondary root, there are branches. They are called tertiary roots. Like that, there is a continuous expansion of roots. This system of root expansion is called as tap root system. All those roots that are coming from primary root and their branches, all collectively called as tap root system. Tap root system is the best example for dicots. I mean, most of the dicots possess taproot system. It is a characteristic feature of dicotyledonous plants. Remember, dicots produce taproots. It doesn't mean that dicots only produces taproots. Careful this statement. There are some cases in the dicots, according to environmental conditions, some of the dicots even produces fibrous roots and other varieties of adventitious roots also, which is very rare. But general consideration, taproot is a characteristic feature of dicotyledonous plants. Clear? If they have given a statement, all dicots possess only taproots, obviously this statement is wrong. You will also read this statement in the NCERT book. Generally, dicotyledonous plants possess taproot system. Their meaning of the statement is, here and there in dicotyledonous plants, there is an existing of adventitious roots and fibrous roots. It's very rare to have fibrous roots in dicotyledonous plants, but dicots do produce adventitious roots commonly. Okay? Next one. What about fibrous root system? If you are talking about fibrous roots, this is an interesting phenomenon. While radical growing, be careful during at the time of seed germination, immediately fibrous roots will not develop. First, there is a development of primary root. From the expansion of radical, primary root is going to be developed. But this primary root is short-lived. It will grow up to some time during seed germination. After that, primary root is getting disappear. Meanwhile, the plumule will get elongated on the top. Then from the base of the stem, imagine this is the stem. Okay, from the base of the stem, numerous roots started to expand. All those roots which are coming from the base of the stem and their branches, all together we call it as fibrous root system. Fibrous root system. Fibrous root system is a characteristic feature of monocotyledonous plants. Monocots, where plumule growth is temporary. Radical growth is temporary. Radical grow and produce primary root initially. But that primary root could not able to elongate for longer duration of time. It elongate up to some time. After that, primary root growth will stop. From where the stem attached to the soil, from that area, there would be an expansion of so many fine roots. All those roots together, we call it as fibrous roots and their systematic arrangement. That means fibrous roots and their branches. All together, we will call it as fibrous root system. There is another category of roots are there, adventitious roots. This is a variety of root, adventitious. Wherever you come across adventitious, remember adventitious means unplanned. Generally, plant plan to produce root from radical. That is a proper plan. If radical fail to produce root, from the base of the stem, some roots will be produced. These are called as fibrous roots. Other than this area, any part of the plant, if it produces root, such kind of root we call it as adventitious roots. Adventitious, unplanned. The definition for adventitious roots, the roots that are produced other than radical. Such kind of roots are called as adventitious roots. They may be produced on the stem, they may be produced on the leaf, wherever they produce, but they should not develop from radical. Such kind of roots are called as adventitious roots. I have observed many students are asking, these fibrous roots, what you have mentioned earlier, are they adventitious roots? Of course, fibrous roots are a variety of adventitious roots. How could you confirm that? Tell me the definition of adventitious roots, the roots that are developed other than radical. Tell me, fibrous roots, are they developed from radical? Definitely not. They developed from base of the stem. Since radical expansion was temporary, up to certain duration of time, radical expanded and then disappear. Later, from the base of the stem, fibrous roots have been developed. In that case, fibrous roots, a kind of adventitious roots. Fibrous roots are a type of adventitious roots. Now, one thing I wanted to confirm related to questions. Generally, while they are giving options, they are giving fibrous roots, adventitious roots as separate type of roots. Believe that fibrous roots, adventitious roots are separate. The mode of development of fibrous roots is fixed. They always develop at the base of the stem. Adventitious roots can be developed anywhere else in the plant. Even if you have observed on the bryophyllum, at the edges of leaf also there is a chance for the development of root. So, while we are following the concept like this, unless they specially ask, fibrous roots, are they adventitious roots? If they ask this statement, you say yes. Apart from that, whenever you come across fibrous roots and adventitious roots in options, make sure that they are talking about two different types of roots. One variety of root that is developed at the base of the stem, another variety of root that is developed other than base of the stem elsewhere on the top of the plant. Clear? These are the three varieties of types of root. Then this information what they have given in our NCERT book, let us check. This is the information given in NCERT book regarding to types of roots. Root system, listen ma, here the primary roots, secondary roots, etc. they are talking. I will read it out. You just go through what they wanted to highlight. In majority of the dicotyledonous plants, the direct elongation of the radical leads to the formation of primary root, which grows inside the soil. It bears lateral roots of several order, which are secondary, tertiary, etc. Primary root, direct descendants are secondary root. On the secondary root, if there is any branches, they are called tertiary root. Like that, root branching will continue. Such kind of root system is called tap root system, which is a characteristic feature of dicots. Here they mention majority of the dicotyledonous plants. Remember, a dicot will grow. Okay? After its growth, due to some reason, primary root could not able to be expand. Primary root stopped growing. At that place, fibrous root started to develop. And at every node, there will be a development of new roots, which are adventitious roots. That's why they are saying it's not compulsory for a dicotyledonous plant to possess tap root system, but generally tap root systems are found in dicotyledonous plant. I would find a dicot and I could not say this dicot definitely should contain tap root system. It may not, but tap root system generally are present in dicots. That's what they wanted to say with related to this. The primary roots and its branches constitute taproot system as seen in case of mustard plant. Careful, the example that they wanted to give for dicotyledonous root system, that is mustard. Mustard, the member of Brassicaceae, they wanted to give as an example for dicotyledonous taproot system. In monocotyledonous plants, the primary root is short-lived. Primary root is nothing but what? The direct expansion of radical is called primary root. It grows up to some time and then stop. And it is replaced by large number of roots originated from the base of the stem, constitute fibrous roots, as in case of wheat plant. So many varieties of monocotyledonous plants are having this fibrous roots variety. One variety they mention wheat, rice, sorghum, maize, variety of monocotyledonous are having this content called it as fibrous root system. In some plants like grasses, grasses and monstera, in case of the grasses, at the nodes they develop, and monstera and banyan tree, roots arises from the parts other than radical. These are called as adventitious roots. Be careful, the roots that are raised other than radical, we will call them as adventitious roots. So these are the three varieties of roots typically identified in angiosperms. Clear? Careful, ma. During the course of evolution, tap root system has developed from gymnosperms onwards, and it continued up to dicots of angiosperms. Later, this taproot system has been disappeared. Whatever the plants which we mentioned below the gymnosperms and above the dicots, all are having fibrous roots, which are nothing but adventitious roots. Okay, that's about types of roots. Next, let us talk about, they have mentioned functions of roots. I have already mentioned functions of the root, and they are talking about here regions of the root. The regions of the root also I have explained in earlier class. Next, let us talk about some kind of modifications of root. See, root modifications, we have to study them. In recent textbook they are not mentioning, but here and there in the practical area, in practical books, there has been mentioning of root and its modifications. That's why we have to notify root modifications over there. First one, storage roots. Storage roots. The storage roots responsible for food storage. Food storage. Variety of storage roots we will see in the name of conical roots, fusiform roots, napiform roots, etc. Let me take an example for that. It is better to understand. See, there are some roots which are called as storage form of roots. Okay, over there we have a category there. Look at this area. These roots, we are calling it as storage form of roots. See, in this storage form of root, they all are tap roots. These are all tap roots that are responsible for storage of food. Tap roots responsible for storage of food. All the three. Remember, in recent NCERT book, it has been removed, but it is there in practical manual and some other kind of events related to morphology, families, etc., etc. It is there. That's why let us just recall what are the varieties of roots which we call it as storage form of roots. See, carrot. Best example of the carrot is conical roots. The shape of the root of the carrot is conical. It performs storage of the food, and also storage of the food means what type of food? Obviously starch, little amount of starch. And also in the carrot we will see a best variety of carotenoids which are called as beta carotenes. Carotenoids are the reason behind the appearance of this carrot in this orange color. This is turnip. This is radish. Radish is appearing in spindle shape. Spindle shape root, tap root, which is storing. Here this is turnip. This is the shape. Central it is enlarged, bottom it is having conical shape. Altogether, turnip, it is a kind of taproot. It is storing food. I have observed many students in this category of turnip or turnip is also called napiform. Napiform of root. Over there, when it comes to napiform, one example that is turnip, another one is beetroot. Beetroot. See, and I have also seen many students are misunderstanding turnip, beetroot, both are same. Both are not same. Turnip belongs to Brassicaceae members, Brassicaceae members, and beetroot, which is Beta vulgaris, it is belongs to Amarantaceae members. Amarantaceae. But both are having same shape in their taproot system. The shape is called napiform. Okay. Now, turnip scientific name Brassica rapa, and Beta vulgaris, beetroot scientific name Beta vulgaris. If you write for a napiform shaped taproot which is storing food, either turnip or beetroot, both are same, but both are not same plant. Are you getting the idea? If you are talking about napiform is turnip, correct? Napiform is beetroot, that is also correct. Okay, but both plants are not the same. Turnip colorless, beetroot will have color. What color the beetroot have, we all know. Next one, sweet potato. In sweet potato, adventitious roots. Adventitious root in sweet potato, and dahlia, and in case of dahlia and asparagus. Asparagus. In the bottom of the plant, there are some bunches of roots which are storing food, which we call it as fasciculated root. Fasciculated roots. Anyhow, these are all are storing food in their roots. See, these are all our tap roots which are storing food. These are all our only three examples I have given. Sweet potato store food in their adventitious roots. Dahlia and asparagus store food in their fibrous roots, which are also a variety of adventitious roots, but the fibrous roots developed by asparagus and dahlia will grow in the form of bunches. Such kind of bunches of roots are called fasciculated roots. Okay, this is about storage form of roots. Apart from that, we do have variety of roots that are performing supporting to plants. In that case of supporting to plant, let us consider here. Here you can see this is bamboo, sugarcane, or you can also consider it as maize. What happens in them? Those nodes which are near to the soil, bamboo is a monocot. Generally at the base of the stem it produces fibrous roots, and monocots usually produces fibrous roots. But what happens? Those nodes which are present near to the soil, these nodes started to expand the roots to enter in the soil to provide mechanical stability to the plant. Such kind of roots we call as, they are called as stilt roots or brace roots. Stilt roots or brace roots. Stilt or brace roots. Next one, when it comes to banyan tree, here you can see this one, banyan tree. Those roots that are coming as an adventitious roots from the branches, and they are entering the soil for the sake of mechanical support. These are called pillar roots. Pillar roots. Sometimes they are also called prop roots. Prop roots. Next one, they are also prop roots. They are helping for the mechanical support. There are some variety of roots which are called as buttress roots. Look at this one. This plant name is pandanus. It's not banyan tree. This is pandanus. In that, from the base, the roots started to expand and they are going to give mechanical stability in all the angles. You can see that branches are not producing roots from the above. The roots which are near to the stem started to expand and coming up and providing stability. These kind of roots are called buttress roots. Buttress roots. Buttress roots. The best example for buttress root, pandanus. There are variety of roots which are providing so many types of mechanical stability to the plant body. Okay? In that case, consider here, this is a plant called epiphyte, the plant which is growing on the top of the other plant. This is called epiphyte. In case of epiphyte, they have some kind of roots. Generally, those epiphytes which are growing in moisturized environment, they are having a kind of special variety of roots called as velamen roots. What they are, ma? Velamen roots. Careful, these are there in old NCERT content. Right now they are not there, but anyhow we are recalling. They are called as velamen root. What these velamen roots are doing? These velamen roots freely hanging in the air. They have a special kind of tissue for absorption of atmospheric moisture. The tissue name is called hygroscopic tissue or velamen tissue. This velamen tissue will absorb atmospheric moisture even without attaching to the soil. By attaching to any substratum of the stem, they can able to grow in aerial condition. Such kind of plants are called epiphytes. Best example of epiphyte which is producing velamen root is vanda. Like that, there are so many varieties of roots are there. Let me show you some more examples what I have collected. This is a variety of root which is called as mangrove roots, or a root which is also called as pneumatophoric roots. Pneumatophoric roots. Pneumatophoric roots. Pneumatophores. What does it mean by pneumatophores? Remember, pneumatophores are common in case of those plants which are growing in mangrove lands. What are mangrove lands? Those lands where always water cover on the surface of the soil. Especially these areas we will identify in the place where river meets sea. That area is called estuaries. Over there, what happens? Almost entire year, soil covered by a layer of water bed. As a result, atmospheric air cannot able to penetrate inside the soil. As a result, the root cannot get sufficient amount of oxygen. Ultimately, the root cells could not survive. In order to absorb oxygen, what these plants are doing, they get some special variety of roots called as pneumatophores. What happened with these pneumatophores? Pneumatophores grow aerially. They are aerial roots. What do you mean by aerial roots? Typical nature of a root is positively geotrophic in nature, but pneumatophores exhibit negative geotrophism. Pneumatophores are exhibiting negative geotrophism. What is the advantage of this negative geotrophism? They will come to the surface of the soil and exposed to air. These pneumatophores are having special areas called Nematodes. Nematodes. Nematodes means a variety of lenticels. You know lenticels? The gaps that are existing in the bark of the stem is called lenticel. The same variety of lenticels are also present in this nematophores. These lenticels exposed to the air and responsible for absorption of oxygen to inside the root system. Such kind of roots which are helping for intaking of the oxygen from the atmosphere, they are also called respiratory roots. Respiratory roots, and sometimes they are also called breathing roots. Breathing roots, a root which can able to breathe. Remember, here one thing I would like to suggest to remember, that is, generally we used to believe lenticels present on the stem. Of course, during at the time of secondary growth, if a bark is developed, there are some cracks developed on the stem for the sake of entry of gases inside. Of course, lenticels are present on stem, but it doesn't mean that on the root lenticels never develop. During at the time of secondary growth, even in the root system, there is a chance for the breakdown of external layers of the root, and there will be a development of cracks. These cracks we call it as lenticels. So if they mention lenticels are responsible for absorption of oxygen by nematophores, that is exactly correct. Is it clear? The best example for respiratory root are nematophore, rhizophora, rhizophora and Avicennia. Rhizophora and Avicennia are the best example for the roots that are performing respiration. Next, another variety of root. There are some roots are there. They even perform photosynthesis. Why? There are some plants, especially epiphytic plants. Their leaves are temporary. If they wanted to survive, obviously they have to perform photosynthesis. So the root become green and can gain the ability to perform photosynthesis. Such kind of roots are called as photosynthetic roots. Sometimes we also call them as assimilatory roots. See this picture. This is a picture that it is represent nematophores. These roots all are nematophores. They are growing above the soil aerially, and they are responsible for absorption of oxygen from atmosphere. And at the same time, I am explaining one kind of root that is called photosynthetic roots. See, rarely some roots are able to perform photosynthesis. Those roots that are responsible for photosynthesis are also called assimilatory roots. Assimilatory roots. Generally, roots do not have the ability to perform photosynthesis, but rarely the plants like Taeniophyllum, and Trapa. Taeniophyllum and Trapa are responsible for maintaining photosynthesis in their root. Is it okay? Such kind of plant we call it as assimilatory roots containing plants, or simply the plants with photosynthetic roots. Seema, this is a close image of brace roots. We will also see this image in case of wheat plant, maize plant, sugar cane even. The stem is having at the base some variety of fibrous roots. But above that, near to the node what is present in the soil, there are some special roots are developed. These are a variety of supporting roots. This is about roots and their modifications. Next, remember these root modifications I have given because these contents here and there they are come across. They are not mentioned directly in the NCERT book under the title of root and its modifications because the root and modification so far has been removed. But in practical manual and in families here and there we observe such kind of things. One more is there important regarding to the root, that is nodular root. Do you remember the family called Fabaceae? They have an ability to conduct nitrogen fixation in their roots by forming root nodule. Root nodules are the places where rhizobium bacteria converts atmospheric nitrogen to ammonia. Such places called nodules. A root that contain nodule is called nodular root. Like that, variety of roots are there. We have to remember all these things for future purpose. Next, come to another thing, that is stem. See, after root, we have a concept to be discussed, that is stem. Stem. What is a stem? The definition of stem goes like this. This is ascending part of or ascending growth of stem, ascending part of plant developed from plumule. Developed from plumule. So always stem grow ascendingly. It's not the statement that every time stem has to grow ascendingly, but they have mentioned in NCERT book stem is an ascending part of plant because generally root is descending, stem is ascending. It's not the meaning that every time stem grows in an ascending direction only. Sometimes stem even grow horizontally on the surface of the soil in the form of runners, some other variety of modifications. In that, what are the characters of stem? Stem contains nodes, and internodes. Nodes and internodes. Remember, if you wanted to recognize where are the nodes on the stem, for example, if you take a sugar cane or any kind of monocotyledonous plant, it is very easy to recognize where there is a node because they could show a prominent node. But if you take a dicot, for example, neem plant, where do you say exactly there is an existence of node? Does it mean that those plants do not have nodes? Definitely all stems are having nodes. So how to recognize node? Node would be recognized by appearance of leaf. Imagine if you observe there is a development of leaf on the surface of the stem, whether it is appeared as prominent body or whether it is appeared as smooth body, you should remember this area should be considered as node. And leaves are developing like this area you have to mention it as node. The gap between two nodes we call it as internode. Gap between two nodes you have to mention it as internode. Like that, there is a proper recognition. Careful this statement. Somebody has given to you a piece of a root, a piece of a stem, and they are asking to differentiate between them. The easy way to differentiate presence of nodes and internodes is a characteristic feature of the stem, and root does not possess such kind of things. And at the same time, Root never bear leaves. Is it clear? Next one. Why root never bear leaves? Roots do not have nodes, and node is a place where there is a development of leaf. That's why stem only possess leaves, roots do not carry leaves. Then some other characters that they have mentioned regarding to some characters regarding to stem. Let me take the NCERT book. See, stem. Listen ma. What we need to learn regarding to stem, I will clarify here. You just underline if possible. What are the features that distinguish a stem from root? Stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers and fruit. This is the title you have to remember. They don't want to say stem always ascending. They wanted to say that stem is an ascending part while root is a descending part, because they have begun the story by saying how we recognize a stem from the root. Is it clear? Next, root does not bear leaves, branches. Root will have branches, but root never carry leaves and flowers and fruit. It developed from the plumule of the embryo in a germinating seed. That's what we mentioned. Stem bears nodes and internodes. The region of the stem where leaves are born are called nodes, while internodes are the portions between the two nodes. The stem bears buds, which may be terminal or axillary. Remember, what does it mean by a bud? This I have seen many students are getting confused. What is a bud? Tell me, what is a bud? Think about it. Bud is nothing but concised stem. Bud is concised stem. What do you mean by this? Think about, there is a stem. It has it has node. At the nodal region, it has leaves. Consider, these leaves first originated from tip of the stem. When you go to the tip, at this area, we will identify some leaves which are primordial. Primordial means just now they started to originate. At the time, between the two nodes, listen the statement, there is a lot of gap between two nodes. That means internodal portion is more. I am concising this internodal area and making these leaves very close to one and another. If we keep these leaves very close to one and another, it appears like a concised stem. That concised stem, we call it as bud. The bud will be present at the tip of the stem, or bud may be present in axil of a leaf. If bud is present at the tip of the stem, we call it as terminal bud, and we also call it as apical bud, and also we will call it as stem tip. All these words are the same. This bud is called apical bud, and this bud is also called terminal bud, and this bud is called axillary bud, and which is also called lateral bud. In this case, what is the use of these buds? Remember, a bud is nothing but future extension of shoot. A shoot or a stem is going to be expanded from the bud. But in any requirement of other organ formation, bud may have the ability to modify into other organs. What does it mean by that? Think about this one. This is an axillary bud. If you wanted to make a branch from the axillary bud, it is possible, because branch can develop from the bud, because bud is nothing but a concised stem, and by any nature you wanted to develop any kind of flower from that bud, it is also possible to develop. Be careful. Bud can be developed in the form of a branch, it can be developed in the form of a flower, because flower is also a kind of modified shoot. A shoot, certain cases during the growth of reproduction, would be developed in the form of flower from its axillary bud. Is it clear? It has been mentioned here and there. Cabbage is the well-known largest bud so far identified in plants. Cabbage, while we are plucking the leaves of the cabbage, we will identify all these leaves get connected to one area, because the internodal length is very short. Between one node to another node, the length is very short. That's why all the leaves are appeared to confirm they are arranged one on the top of another. Such kind of arrangement is nothing but bud. With all this explanation, I wanted to say only one thing. Bud is nothing but a concised stem. From the bud, you can develop a branch, you can develop an expansion of a stem, or you can develop a flower. Getting the statement? But buds you never developed on root. Imagine a statement. There is a bud, but it does not develop at the terminal portion, and a bud that does not develop at axillary region. Generally, where are the buds developed? They may develop at the terminal portion, or they may need to develop at the axillary portion. But some cases there are buds which are developed other than terminal and axillary portion. Those buds we call it as adventitious buds. Adventitious buds. Be very careful. You have seen a bud on the surface of a root. On the surface of the root, you have seen there is a presence of bud. Tell me, what kind of bud do you think about it? Is it adventitious bud or it is a regular bud? I told you the definition of adventitious in earlier thing. Adventitious means unexpected or additional. They expect it to be produced at the terminal or axillary portion. Other than these two portions, any area of the stem or any area of the root, you have developed a bud. That bud we call it as adventitious bud. What do you call that? Adventitious bud. Then what they are saying, there is a stem bears buds which may be terminal or axillary. Stem is generally green when it is young, and later often it become woody and brown. Okay. The main functions of the stem is spreading out branches, bearing leaves, flowers and fruit. It conduct water, mineral and photosynthetes. What do you mean by photosynthetes? Photosynthetes are nothing but food. Food will be transported from one area of the stem to another area with the help of the internal food conducting tissue, that is nothing but phloem. So photosynthetes are nothing but food. Some stems perform the functions of storage, food support, protection and vegetative propagation. See, in our book they did not give stem modification. For our convenience, I want to explain what are the modifications of stem. See, stem modifications. We can divide stem modifications into, first of all, what do you mean by modification? Other than its regular function, any activity performed by a stem, it would be considered as modifications. Modifications are a variety of adaptation to conduct various functions in order to survive. Okay, stem modifications we divided into three categories. One is underground stem modification, aerial stem modification and subaerial stem modification. Subaerial stem modifications. First of all, underground stem modification. Underground stem modification, stem tubers, rhizome, culm, and bulb. Listen ma. Underground stem modification. When it comes to underground stem modification, there are very important variety of modification overall all stem modification. Why? Because underground stem modifications, they are meant for storage of food. You said earlier stem may go into store food, and also underground stem modification some cases will help as organ of perennation. Organ of perennation. Organ of perennation. What do you mean by perennation? See, there are some plants perennial, there are some plants annual. An annual plant which can complete its growth and reproduction within a year need not to survive under adverse environment. Imagine all annual plants completes their growth and reproduction in a particular season. Whatever the season that is good for their survival and reproduction, they complete their growth in that particular season. That's it. Is it okay? But when it comes to perennial plants, perennial means a plant that can survive for many years. It may be biennial or more than biennial. I mean, some plants will survive just for 2 years, and some plants can survive more than 2 years. All those are considered as perennial plant. In this situation, imagine there is a plant which is perennial, but its stem is soft. Do you understand what I say? If stem is woody, strong, rigid, it can survive under unfavorable conditions. But if the stem is smooth and soft, under unfavorable condition, especially during dry season, the stem could not able to survive. In order to survive under such condition, some of the soft stemmed plants keep their stem under the ground and stop growing vigorously. Such kind of dormant stem which is present under the ground is called as perennating body. Simple, a stem which is helping the plant to survive for many years under unfavorable conditions surviving. This condition, this kind of situation we call it as perennating bodies. Stems generally store food and also they will act as organs of perennation. In that, best examples of tubers, our potatoes, stem tubers. One thing, when you are talking about potato, don't say complete stem of potato is able to store food. Think about, this is the stem of potato and these are aerial branches and growing well. Okay, what are the places this potato store food? There are some branches which are near to soil, or those branches which are under the ground, they enter inside the soil, and these are the branches which store food. Of course, branch is a stem, that's why the potato is storing its food in stem. Okay, it doesn't mean that entire stem of potato is storing food. No. Entire stem of potato does not store food. Only the branches of the potato could able to store food. Of course, the storage food is what we call that, starch. Next one, when it comes to potato, consider this is a potato. Over there on the potato, here and there we will identify some kind of axillary buds. These axillary buds are called eyes. Eyes are a type of vegetative propagules. By using the eyes, the stem can able to propagate, which means whenever conditions are unfavorable, these stem stay under the ground. When the conditions become favorable, these stems, by through their eyes, they could able to germinate like a new plant. So eyes of the potato are varieties of vegetative propagules, which are a kind of axillary buds. Axillary buds. Is it okay? Then rhizome. The best examples of the rhizome: ginger, and turmeric, and calm. The best example of the calm is colocasia. See, these two are also underground stem, but what is the major difference between a rhizome and a calm? A rhizome grows horizontally. It grows horizontally like this, having some branches, and then like this it grows horizontally. And it comes to calm always grow vertically. This is vertical growth, this is horizontal growth. But both are storing food. Be careful, both are underground stems, both are having nodes and internodes, and also they have scaly leaves. Under the scaly leaves, they have axillary, but everything is same. But the difference is, a calm is vertically growing underground stem, a rhizome is horizontally growing underground stem. Is it clear? Bulb. Imagine a statement. The best example of the bulb is our onion and garlic. Here, so far I have mentioned tubers, stem tubers, rhizomes, calm, bulb. In this, bulb is the only underground stem which cannot store food. Bulb is the only underground stem which cannot store food. What do you mean by this? What is first of all bulb? Bulb is a concised stem. This is the stem which is highly concised. Below it, it produces fibrous roots. Above it, produces leafy bases. These leafy bases are able to store food. Getting the statement? Remember, in case of bulb is nothing but an underground concised stem. This is the only part. This is only part we will consider it as bulb. This bulb cannot store food. Keep it in mind. Out of all underground stems, bulb does not going to store food, and it produces scaly leaves. And on the top of the stem, leaf bases. Actually, in the onion, what we eat is leaf base. Inside the leaf base, there is a storage of food. You know, green onions are leaf. Our regular consumption of onion is leaf basis, but in the onion we never eat stem. Getting the statement? The stem is the bulb, which is nothing but, okay, if they are asking, in an onion we eat bulb. We don't eat bulb, we eat only its leaf basis. Clear? Next one. These are all our underground stems of various plants. Let me show you what are the best examples we can notify regarding to this underground stems. Over there, I have taken some examples for you. See here. This is ginger, horizontal growth of stem. Always grow horizontally. Actually, this is a branch. This is a main stem, and at the branches, concised buds are present. Then go to this one. This is colocasia. Colocasia grow vertically. It's not appearing vertically growing there, but it always grow vertically. These are potatoes, well-known things, which are storing starch. This is onion. Careful ma. This is leaf. Green part, leaf. The swollen parts are leaf bases, and this area where the stem is concise, where roots are attached, that part is called as, what do you call? Bulb. Bulb never store food. Got it? Next one, we have the things like aerial stem modifications. Aerial stem modifications. Let me take some aerial stem modifications. Over here, tendrils, thorns, okay, phylloclade, cladode, phylloclade and cladode. Imagine tendrils. You know that those plants which are having soft stem, they wanted to climb to new location. For the sake of climbing, they develop soft, flexible, and also those parts which are helping them to climb, we call them as tendrils. We will see tendrils in grapevines, terminal bud of grapevines, okay, and also cucurbits, auxiliary buds of cucurbits, and also variety of stems are developing these tendrils. Tendrils are just meant for climbing purpose. Next one, thorns. Thorns are sharp, pointed, woody parts of the stem which are helping the plant from protection. That means it may be a browsing animal, or it may be any kind of herbivorous animal eating the plant. In order to protect themselves, they are developing these body parts. That's called thorns. Best example of thorn, citrus and bougainvillea. Phylloclade. Phylloclade is a stem where stem become green. Entire stem is becoming green, and it may be flattened or it may be cylindrical, and the plant is ready to perform photosynthesis only through stem. Such kind of plants we call it as phylloclades. What do you call that, ma? Phylloclades. Now, best examples of phylloclades: Opuntia and Euphorbia. Opuntia and Euphorbia. Then what about cladode? I will show you all of them anyhow. What about cladode? Cladode is nothing but entire stem is not going to be modified in the form of green flat leaf like structure. There is a main stem, only branches, careful the statement, only branches become green and they started to perform photosynthesis. One more time, if I have phylloclade, which is entire stem is going to be modified in the form of green leaf like body. It's not leaf anyhow, it is a leaf like body which can able to perform photosynthesis, which is called as phylloclade. Then what about cladode? Cladode, there is a main stem. Entire stem is not going to be modified in the form of leaf like photosynthetic body, only a branch, that too a branch with a single internode, which means, think about this, there is a stem, main stem, and it has branches. A branch will grow up to one node. This is the first node. How to recognize this is the first node? These are the leaves. On every leaf there is a node. This is the first node. Up to this node, branch will survive, remaining will fall down, and this part will be elaborated and become green, and it is ready to perform photosynthesis. Like this, a branch with a single internodal length which performs photosynthesis we call it as cladode. And the entire stem become green and performing photosynthesis. We call it as phylloclade. Phylloclade. Let me show you some of them. See, phylloclade, etc. part. Seema. This is aerial stem modifications, etc. Look at this. See, tendrils. In grapevine, the tendrils are developed from terminal bud. In case of other plants, the axillary buds are going to develop in the form of tendrils. But here you see thorns. They are developed in bougainvillea. The axillary bud becomes strong, woody, pointed structure which make the plant to be protected. Then come to this statement. This is asparagus, cladode. Carefully observe. The main stem is as usual working. It's not become green. Only the branches, okay, only the branches with a small single internode, they become green and leaf-like and perform photosynthesis. These bodies we call it as cladode. Clear? Next one, phylloclades. Consider this, phylloclades. Opentia I have taken here. In the opentia, entire stem become flat green in opentia. In case of euphorbiaceae members, the stem is going to be cylindrical, but that stem is also becoming completely green and it is able to perform photosynthesis. Such kind of stems we call it as phylloclades. Is it okay? Cladode, stem modification, only a single internodal length of stem. Here, entire stem is modified in the form of leaf-like green photosynthetic body. In addition to these two terms, we will also come across another term that is called phyllodes. Phylloclades, phyllodes, cladode. Let me show you them. See, in case of these are all our thorns. See this. These are actually spines. Remember, spines are leaf modification, thorns. Okay. You see this one. Here, in this plant, there is a main stem. Main stem is not green, but its branches, every branch which is having a single internodal length become green and perform photosynthesis. Cladode. Next, phylloclade. See this story. In case of acacia species, leaf petiole, careful man. Phyllodes is a leaf modification. Cladode, phylloclade, both are stem modification. Phyllodes is a leaf modification. What happens in phyllodes? In the phyllodes, the leaf petiole get expanded. Actually, in the leaf blade is the place where photosynthesis has to be taken place. But when it comes to, in case of acacia species, leaf petiole will get expanded and it is able to perform photosynthesis. This phenomenon is called as phyllodes. Phyllodes is a leaf modification. Phylloclade is stem modification where entire stem become green and photosynthetic. But here only a branch that it is able to perform photosynthesis. That's called cladode. Clear? These are the some basic differences between cladode, phyllodes, phylloclade. Next, go to another modifications of the stem, that is Subaerial stem modifications. When you talk about subaerial stem modification, instead of stem modifications, we can suggest subaerial stem modifications, modes of vegetative reproduction that occur in the stem. We have also mentioned stems sometimes help in the process called vegetative propagation. Now, if a stem performing vegetative propagation, when you talk about modes of vegetative propagation of stem, vegetative propagation of stem, we will consider it as subaerial stem modifications. What are they? Runners, stolons, suckers and offsets. Careful, these are all our various stem modification specially designed for plant in order to perform vegetative propagation. They conduct vegetative propagation by these methodologies or by these modes. Okay, let me take them: runners, stolons, suckers and offsets. In them, consider here runner. There is a runner. First one. In the runner, what happens in the mode of runner? I told you runners, stolons, suckers are modes of vegetative propagation. Over there, stem is growing horizontally. In an horizontally growing stem, at every node, there is a development of adventitious roots. By any chance, between the nodes, the stem has been broken. The broken areas will grow like a new stem. This is the mechanism of runner. Runner, a stem that is growing horizontally on the surface of the soil. Okay. Whenever there is a breakdown between the two nodes, the two parts of the stem can able to grow like a new plants. Such kind of mode of propagation we call it as runner. The best examples for the runner: grasses and also oxalis. The example here given is oxalis. This plant is oxalis. Okay. Next, go to another one is stolon. When you talk about stolon, consider this: stem growing like this. Stolon stem is generally growing aerially. Aerially stem is growing. These are the branches. A branch which is near to soil started to touch to the soil. This is the base of the stem. Touch to soil. Wherever it touched to soil, it started to develop roots. Whenever we cut the stem away from the main stem, it can grow like a new plant. This phenomenon is called stolon. Okay. Generally we see in jasmine, nerium, etc. The stolon phenomena often work out. What happened? Take a branch which is near to the soil, bend it and make a part of that stem touch to soil. Wherever it touch to soil, it can able to develop new branches, new roots, and ultimately it can grow like a new plant. This is called stolon. Next one, suckers and offsets. Suckers and offsets. Consider what is this phenomena of suckers. See, sucker is Anma. This is the main stem and the branch under the ground. It will grow under the ground horizontally up to some time and then it will come up and it will grow like a new plant. This is called as Sucker. Careful. Sucker. This body is called sucker. When it comes to main stem to branch that is growing away from the soil. This body to this one. This branch we call it as sucker. Sucker is a branch of the stem which is growing beneath the soil up to some time horizontally, and it will come to the surface. This is called as sucker. Best example for the sucker, chrysanthemum. Okay, and when it comes to pistia and eichhornia, they are having runner. Be careful. These are single internodal length stems. On every node they develop bunch of roots, tuft of roots, in the sense a group of roots that are floating on the surface of water, and there will be a development of rosette of leaves. Rosette of leaves means there will be a development of group of leaves which are appearing like rose petals. So altogether, aerially they will develop rosette of leaves. Under the water they are developing tuft of the root. Altogether they are growing like a new plant. By chance, if there is any breakdown of the stem between the two nodes, this area we call it as runner, and it can grow like a new plant. This kind of mode of vegetative propagation is called runner. Those aquatic plants, pistia and eichhornia, are the best example for runners. Is it clear? This is about stem and its modifications. Let us go some details regarding to leaf in our NCERT book. On the basis of NCERT book, let us consider something that is about leaf. Leaf. See, leaf is aerial, generally flattened structure born on the stem. We know that. It developed at the node and bear bud in its angle. What was the bud that is present in the angle of the leaf? Axillary bud. What is the future of the axillary bud? It may develop as a branch or it may develop as a flower. Later, develop into a branch. Leaves originated from the shoot apical meristem and arranged in an acropetal order. Underline that. Leaves are always developed in acropetal order. Flowers may have various modifications, but on the surface of the stem, leaves always developed in acropetal order, which means younger leaves are at the tip of the stem, older leaves are always present at the base of the stem. Next one, they are most important vegetative organs of photosynthesis. We know that. Okay, if you are talking about leaf, there are some important things we need to remember. A typical leaf consists of three main parts. This is called leaf lamina, which is also called leaf blade. This is leaf petiole, and this one is called leaf base. These three parts. Both sides of the leaf base, there are some small, minute leaf-like extensions are present. These leaf-like extensions are called stipules. It's not the meaning that every leaf will have stipules. If a leaf has stipules, stipulated. Okay, if a leaf doesn't have stipule, generally it is called non-stipulated leaf. Next one, on the axil between the two stipules, there is a presence of axillary bud. Then come to leaf base. Consider here, there is a presence of this part is called leaf base. The leaf base, this area so called leaf base by through which leaf petiole is getting connected to stem. Is it okay? Over there, when it comes to leaf base, we need not to forget there is a presence of fabaceae members. They have solen leaf base. That solen leaf base is called pulvinous leaf base, which means if you consider in them, leaf base will be appear like this. This is the leaf lamina, leaf petiole, leaf base. This solen leaf base is a characteristic feature of the members of the family Fabaceae or Leguminosae. Leaf petiole, if petiole is there, the leaf is called petiolated leaf. If the petiole is absent, that leaf is called sessile leaf. lamina. Lamina, if it is complete, lamina is complete, no any kind of incisions. Even incisions are present. Incision means internal cuts. Even incisions are present, the incision should not touch to midrib. Such kind of leaf is called simple leaf. If it is if the lamina is divided into individual part, such kind of leaf is called compound leaf. Let us talk about those details here. Leaf is attached to the stem by leaf base and may bear two lateral small leaf-like structure called stipules. Getting the statement? Stipules, it's not compulsory for a leaf to have stipules. If stipules are there, stipulated, and if stipules are not there, non-stipulated leaves. Then, two late monocot leaf base is expanded to sheath-like structure. What do you call this? Remember, whenever you observe a coconut leaf that is fallen from the plant, you will observe like this. There is a long leaf. There is a long leaf over there. In the long leaf, base will be like this. It has, imagine it's a coconut leaf. You will see leaf base will be like this. Such kind of leaf base is called sheathy leaf base. Whenever you talk about a stem, around the stem, leaf base will grow like this. This is called as sheathing leaf base. In case of dicots, leaf base attaches to the stem at a nodal region in the form of a point. Okay? So, in case of monocots, leaf is expanded like sheath, partially or completely cover the stem. In legumes, plant leaf bases may become swollen. That's called as pelvinous leaf base. The petiole help the plant to, the petiole help the plant, the petiole will help the leaf blade to expand inside the air, so that leaf will be always getting cool, because a leaf continuously exposed to sun, it may get heat. That heat should be cooled down. For the sake of that, leaf blade need to wave. In order to wave, leaf petiole is going to be very helpful. Okay, flutter in the wind, thereby cooling the leaf surface, bringing the fresh air. The lamina or leaf blade is a green expanded part of the leaf with veins and veinlet. There is a usually middle prominent vein, that's called midvein, and the lateral branches of this vein, veinlets. Okay, and finally they are helping for the maintenance of the shape of the leaf, and also veins and veinlets are helping for a leaf to get properly transported water and mineral and photosynthate to all organs of the leaf. Is it okay? Now this is today's class. Be careful. In the syllabus, whatever it may be mentioned, you will get the question paper up to this only. Leaf, you don't get the question paper, venation and types of leaves, etc. Leaf modifications you don't get. You will get only up to leaf introduction. Are you catching the statement? The leaf and its introduction. You will have root modifications, stem modifications. Only up to leaf introduction part you will have in the exam. Is it okay? You can follow those examples which are given in old NCERT book also. That means Jameenkan, and Jameenkan is a Hindi name of Colocasia. Getting the statement? Some of the names they have given in earlier book improperly. So anyhow, in that case, consider up to this you will have the syllabus. I can say that Amorphophallus. Amorphophallus is also example for calm. Jameenkan Amorphophallus. Any doubts you have, you can post in the comments. I can answer most probably. Come on. Move the comments, sir. upward. Okay. In NCRT part, they have written that older parts die. That means runner will help in not only for protecting the plant from grazing animals. Runners will also naturally, if there is any older part of the stem dies, and the younger part will reach us to new location. That is the main nature of runner. That's very good. Any more? Okay. That's about today's class. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.